Okay, so welcome to this webinar presented with Tethys Geoscience Foundation. We'll be discussing today setting up the Tethys platform, and we will be learning from Jacob Johnson. He is a developer with Aquaveo and with the Tethys Geoscience Foundation. He's done a lot of work with the Tethys platform, and so I will go ahead and turn it over to him.
Hello. Yeah, let's get started. Go ahead and share my screen. So yeah, as Jeff mentioned, today we'll be just getting a quick start to Tethys, going over what Tethys is about, what we do here, and what you can use Tethys to build and do. So go ahead, next slide. So again, what is Tethys Platform? So for those that are unfamiliar, Tethys Platform is, I guess, kind of a toolbox. It's a way for us to lower the barrier for scientists and those that aren't familiar with programming to build their own web apps. And these tools that I mentioned in the toolbox allow you to display and get your data out in a way that is interactive and polished, and this nice package that we've got here that you're able to build. So to start off, I thought we'd go over just a few example applications. And a lot of these apps, right, are ones that have very important real world impacts. GeoGlows is a huge organization that is an organization that has had a huge impact with their Tethys apps. Whether that be, predictions around the world, looking at outlooks and drought monitoring. Where did anyone go? I had my, anyways. And we've got a few demo apps here as well that kind of demonstrate the other uses for Tethys applications. Historically, Tethys was built to display data and provide analysis of data that involves water, whether that be streams and lakes or other sources of water. But we've begun branching out and starting to kind of notice that we're able to build apps that involve many other disciplines of earth science. So we've got a few here that kind of just demonstrate that fact. This is a simple flight tracker. We've got one that is able to track wildlife and allows users to go in and provide input and register animal sightings in national parks. This is a crime statistics viewer that users can go in and view data provided by the NYPD on this nice interactive map. So as you can see, Tethys really does just provide a very clean and simple way to interact with your data and allow users and those that you'd like to view your data to do so as well. So as we also mentioned, we're going to get into starting with Tethys. We'll start by installing the platform, and we'll go through kind of the basics of getting your own app started and running. So to begin, I'm actually going to kind of flip back and forth between the slideshow here and a terminal and a code editor. But to begin, I will need to start by installing or getting just a virtual environment running. There's a few ways to do that. Miniconda is a good way to do that. I'll just be working directly through Mamba and Conda. Let me get a terminal up here. I'll go ahead and share my screen over here. Okay. So actually, let me get. Okay, so I'll start by creating my Tethys environment. So just call it webinar Tethys for the sake of clarity. This is the name of our environment that we'll be using, and then we'll be using Conda Forge to install the Tethys platform. And so it'll take just a bit. Actually, well, yeah, I could probably do this a bit quicker, but essentially this is the command you'll run. I'll probably just use a different environment here, just for time's sake. But that'll be the command that you run. It'll be the simplest way to do that. Go ahead, start here. So as you can see, yep,
Can you make the text bigger in your terminal?
I believe so. I don't know that that'll actually change the, let's see if there's a terminal. Terminal. Let's see. There we go. That a little better?
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. So as you can see here, this is just an environment that I set up previously, just called webinar. And then once you've entered a virtual environment, you'll see it here before any commands that you run in the terminal. So from there, I do have my portal kind of set up, but we'll go over that here. Running Tethys Quick Start is the easiest way. That essentially begins running a few different commands, setting up your database, and just getting everything prepared. Again, for time's sake, we'll just continue with the portal that I've got set up here. Right, and then from there, we'll go ahead and get started. Get the portal running. You can just run Tethys Start. I do have a few apps here already installed. I've got another portal running on mine. There we go. Okay. Okay. So as soon as you've run Tethys Start, you'll see some of this text just kind of pop out. And then here, this will show you that you're ready to go ahead and connect. So an easy way to just enter the portal is to even just hold Control, click here. Otherwise, you can just go to localhost 8000, or this is a general IP that you're able to connect to the portal with, just as you're running it locally. From there, we can log in to our portal. The default credentials here are just admin and pass. There, here normally off the bat you wouldn't see any apps, but we've got a few set up here. And as you'll see, we can add apps here as we go along. So from there, am I showing the right screen still? Let me see. Am I showing the? Okay, good. Okay, let's go back over to the slideshow. Where am I at? There we go. Yep, we've got, so we've got the portal here, just showing that. Next, we'll go over scaffolding a new app. So scaffold is pretty similar to what it sounds like. This is just kind of the skeleton of an app that we can get set up pretty quickly, just using a command in Tethys. And what this adds is just everything that you need for an app that will run right off the bat. It won't have any content to it, but this is just a quick way to get your app started. So go ahead and look at doing that. So we'll go ahead and close, or we'll stop the portal here just by doing Control-C. Just stops it from running for a minute. We'll go ahead and create a folder here called My Apps. And from there, we'll go ahead and run Tethys Scaffold, and then we provide it the app name we'd like. So we'll call this Webinar App. And this will go ahead and ask you a few questions. You can customize these right now. You don't have to, but it will kind of just generate some configuration on its own from what you've provided. Being that the name here, for example, just Webinar App. I can name it whatever I'd like. I can name it Webinar App Name. I can name it whatever I'd like, but I'll just leave it with the default for now. Here, come on. Yeah. Here we can provide a description. This is a description of my new app. We can provide a theme color. I'll just leave it with the default that it's given us here. Tags, this is just kind of a way to identify what the app involves, what disciplines it covers, and different features. Again, we'll just leave that blank for now. You can provide your author name, email, license name. This is just what the license or what license the app is written under. And yeah, there we go. So as you can see, this is kind of spat out some file names that it's generated and built for you. And we're ready to go ahead and look at that. So if we go to, oops, I did that in the wrong folder, didn't I? Let's go ahead to, okay, there we go. So as you can see, we've got this folder set up here now. I did that somewhat wrong. I'm going to go ahead and scaffold that again here. Okay. Do that in the correct folder here. Okay. There we go. Perfect. So now we can CD into our Tethys app webinar app folder. And here we've just got a few kind of boilerplate files that we'll need for installing the app. And then inside here, we can also go ahead and look at some of the files that it's generated here. So the ones that we'll be looking at today are actually the one that we'll be looking at today is simply the controllers.py file. We'll get into that in a minute. But next, we'll go ahead and look at installing our app here. So again, just once we're in the folder, we can go ahead and run, oops. We can go ahead and run Tethys install. And for the sake of this tutorial, we'll be doing -D. And this simply means that it is a development installation. And so any changes you make to the app or the files within it will be reflected in the app itself inside your browser, which we'll kind of see here in a minute. So go ahead and run that command in our terminal here. Oops. Oh, oops. Go back out into the, yeah, there we go. Need to make sure that we're in the same directory as our install.yaml file here. And we'll run a few processes here. And there we go. So again, we had a few apps here already that were already installed, but now we have our webinar app here, as you can see. So again, once we go ahead and start up our development server with Tethys Start, give it a second. Great, and as you can see here, our portal's up and ready to go to connect to, and we can go check that out now. So I'll go ahead and refresh the page here, log in. And as you can see, you've got the webinar app here showing up. Let's go ahead and enter there. And there we go. This is our brand new Tethys app. Again, this is kind of just a boilerplate just to show you what the app can look like, just kind of off the bat. There's no real content here, no real functionality, as you can tell. But again, this is just kind of a skeleton or a boilerplate for your own apps that you'll build. So we're not going to get too deep into building a full-on app, but just so you guys have an idea of what we'll end up doing. This is going to be kind of our end product here, adding a map to our application that has data displayed on it, completely stylized and customized, and that is fully interactive. So as we're going along, we'll go ahead. This again, just showing the scaffolded app here. So yeah, our next step will be adding our interactive map. I won't have anything on it yet, but we'll have a map that we can kind of scroll around and zoom in and out of and view different things on. So go ahead and go into how we're adding that. As I mentioned, we'll be interacting with the controller.py file. This is where all of your pages are kind of managed. Everything that involves the data that's brought to your pages and what your pages should look like as well. So for this one, we'll be using the map layout. Now, this is a tool that Tethys provides us, as you can see here on this line. And we'll just be setting it to home. So that's our default page that comes up when we open the app. And you don't need to worry too much about what some of these lines mean. These will be just some of the configurations that the map layout needs. But again, no need to worry about it for now. So yeah, let's go ahead and start adding this to our app. I'm going to go ahead and just copy and paste over. Actually, let me get that open up here. So now I have a window open with our code here, as you can see. Our app code, that is. Okay, so can everybody see this font size pretty well in the text editor?
A little small.
A little small? Okay, let me. Okay, is that a little better?
Interesting.
Okay, great. All right, so go ahead. I'm gonna put the so we can kind of copy and paste it. So begin by adding some of these imports. Let me again just kind of copy and paste that over. Okay, so again, these are just some of the imports that we'll need for this step. We'll go ahead and copy some of the map layout code over as well. Okay. Actually, let me make sure. Okay. Should be good to go. So once we've added this over, again, because we're in a development install, we don't need to reinstall the app. We don't need to do anything extra. As soon as we start our Tethys portal, all of these changes will be reflected in the app. So we can go ahead and look at that now. So I'll go ahead and refresh the page, log in. And there we go. Our app now has this sweet interactive map. We can zoom in and out of, move around. We can look at different layers on the map. And again, this is all just with, I believe it's what, maybe 10 lines of code within our app. And that's all done with the Tethys platform. So our next step will be adding some data to our map. So there's a few different ways to do this with map layout. There's a few different, I guess, types of layers we can add. But for now, we're going to be working with a GeoJSON layer. And as you guys saw, it just adds some of those points to our map. And there's lots you can do with that. We can add different shapes. We can add lines. It doesn't need to be just points on the map. There's a lot you can do with GeoJSON. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste over a file that we'll be using to our code editor. That'll just be the cities.geojson file. Move that over. Okay. Little CD in here. So as you can see, we've got the file here. We're going to go ahead and run a command here. For this tutorial's sake, we're just going to throw this file into what's called the app workspace. And that is essentially just a folder that Tethys sets up for you that allows you to store files that the app will use as part of its functionality. And so somewhat new to Tethys will be using the pads command. So what this command does is it just adds the cities.geojson file to our app workspace for the webinar app. Go ahead and run that. Okay, as you can see, a file's been added to the app workspace now. And so next, we'll need to look at just adding the data from that file to our map layout. So we'll look at the code here for a second, just so you guys can get an idea. We'll also be setting the properties pop-up to true, and I'll go over that in just a moment once we've got the map up and running. But essentially here in the code, we'll go ahead and look at opening finding the location of the GeoJSON file. We'll be reading it in with the JSON module, and then using this method that is provided with the map layout class in Tethys, we'll go ahead and build the GeoJSON layer. We'll give it a few variables here, some configuration. We'll build a layer group, and we'll go over that once the app is running with these changes. But essentially, you can provide different groups of layers that are kind of organized on the left, and then just return that layer group. So go ahead and do that in our own code here. So let me go ahead again and just kind of copy and paste that over. Okay. Do need to add the JSON module here, which we'll do. And I believe that's all the changes we'll need. One thing to note is in order to use the app workspace, we just provide it here in the controller decorator. Nothing you really need to worry about too much, just again, something of note. And then we're passing that into the compose layers function here. So go ahead and save those changes. And let's go ahead and get the server running again. Go ahead and refresh the page, log back in. Now, as you can see, we've got all these points on our map. I forgot to add the show properties pop up here. So what this will allow you to do is click on features within the map, and if there's any metadata associated with that feature, it'll show up once you've clicked on it. As you can see here, we've got this nice little pop-up with some of the metadata that is associated with that feature. And there's a way to customize this to in case some of the variable names aren't quite formatted the way you'd like, or if you'd like to remove or not display some of these. But yeah, so this whole set of data that we've got displayed on the map is just a set of cities or populated locations throughout the world. And again, this is all worldwide, as you can see. And we can click on, again, any of these points, and they show some of the data associated with each of those features. And again, we won't get into it today, but GeoJSON is very useful. You can create your own GeoJSON files pretty easily online as well to kind of add things to your map, be that shapes, lines, different points, similar to these. There's a lot you can do with it. So the last step to really kind of customize the map is we're going to go ahead and add some styling to the points. So that we'll just be using a vector style map. For this, we're going to give it a blue, or each of the points a blue center with kind of a red outline. And we can affect the look of the points in a lot of ways here. As you can see, we've got the radius of each point. We can change the color, the width of the outline, and the colors, of course. There's a lot you can do with this. Again, won't get into all of this, but with a GeoJSON layer, there's a lot of customization you can do just within your own code. So go ahead and add that to our stuff here so we can see how that works. Just go ahead and copy and paste that over. Again, this is just a class method that we use within the map layout class. And again, as you guys can see here, as I've made changes, the server just kind of updates, and when it detects changes to the Python file here. And so again, we can just go ahead, navigate back to our app, go ahead and refresh it, log in here. And as you can see, we've now got these sweet blue dots with the red outline for each of these cities on our map. So again, with, I believe, what, maybe 30, 40 lines of code here, as you can see. We've now got a fully interactive map with data on it that is, again, interactive. We can click on it and view data on each point. And this is all, again, this is worldwide data. Just to show you the capabilities here. Again, with very little code, pretty simple code at that. That again is pretty capable. So just to kind of wrap up, going over building your own app. Tethys is very customizable. The entire portal can be customized. Your apps can be customized, again, to your liking. In the beginning, we saw kind of the default color added, used for the app, but we can go in and make changes within our app here. So for example, let's say, that we'll go back to the app here just so we can show you that. So this color orange here, right? We can change that. We can change the logo here that is shown out here in the corner and in our app library. We'll go ahead and look at doing that. So in order to access the app settings, you can do it from just the app library, clicking here. You can do it from within the admin settings, going down to installed apps. But the simplest way, I think, is just opening the app and clicking here. Most apps will leave that button there. Some don't, but there's a lot of different ways to access the app settings. So we'll go ahead. Let me see what the color we've got here. So if we want to change it, for example, to this purple color, we can go ahead. Let me actually just copy and paste it from this other app we've got here. Go ahead and save that here. Go back to our app. And as you can see, we've now got this nice purple color throughout the app. And again, we can go, let me pull up, where did I put that? What that we're going to use. Let me see if I can find it here. Sorry, I forgot to put that in a better place. Oh, where did that go? We'll have to do that another day. But again, you can go in and change the app logos here pretty easily. Just changing the file here. In order to do that, though, just to show you where that's saved, if we go to public within our Tethys app code, go to images, we've got the icon.gif here, and that is where you can save your image just within this folder and then reference it here. But yeah, I think that's all I have for this portion. Again, just to kind of show you how quick and easy it is to get an app up and running. Tethys has many more tools that we won't be going into today, but there's really a lot that you can do with Tethys, and again, just with very little code and with very little experience with it. Our documentation is pretty extensive, and it'll help you a lot with a lot of things that you'll likely want to do with your data and with your research. So I think that's what we have for today. I think we'll open it up for questions, and that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Jacob. I do have a question. What would you say are like the most common issues people run into when they're trying to set up? You're muted.
I'll be honest, I think some of it is just probably just getting your environment set up. We went over that pretty quickly, but that's probably the most difficult part. Tethys makes things pretty simple, but getting Conda set up for those that are unfamiliar with it can be a little difficult, but I'd say that's probably the most difficult part.
And with that, are there any like system concerns, like what sort of machine they ought to be on, hardware that they should have, or does it seem like it's really flexible?
It's pretty flexible. I don't think you need a very beefy machine to get an app built and running. No.
Thank you.
Nathan?
Hey, Jacob. Thank you. That was a great presentation. What would you recommend as kind of the first steps that someone should take after they've installed Tethys? How do they get started?
Yeah, I would say I would visit our documentation. I'll pull that up here. Like I said, it's pretty extensive. We've got a lot of info here. We've got tutorials that can get you up and running. And this is all aimed at people, again, that know basically nothing about coding. You don't need to have really any experience. Some experience does help with some of these, but getting started, for example, with the standard apps basics, just kind of following along, getting a feel for editing code. And one thing I would say is, I think some people are tempted to just kind of go in and, okay, I've got this code here. I'll go ahead and copy and paste it over to my file. And that works great. But to really learn and to kind of get a feel for how it works, just go ahead and mess around with some of this. Change the settings. Go ahead and like find your own GeoJSON file to add and kind of mess with things so that you learn how to work through any errors that come up. And I mean that's the basic principle of learning about coding. Again, if you don't have any experience with that, I think Tethys is a good way to get started with that, and it's a very useful way, right? It's all again, this is all built for conveying your data, your research. So if you're using something that's your own, I think that's a really good way to start learning. Yeah, our tutorials here are, again, very extensive. We've got a lot of information here, and we're adding to it every day. I would say again, though, I think this is a good kind of place to start. This goes over a lot of what we went over today. Pretty common app to build is just one with an interactive map. And this one kind of goes over that. There are other concepts here that are maybe a little more advanced. So I would say, yeah, I'd say just going over the standard app basics and again, just kind of messing with what you have here and kind of making it your own is the best way to learn and get started.
Okay. Oh, where's Cecil?
Well, I'm just curious. You guys are gonna make these available. This was a very nice presentation. Thanks, Jacob. I'm wondering if these will be available for watching later.
Yes, it will. And then I will also, we'll get this presentation out to you guys as well. And then I'll put, I just didn't get to it, but I'll go ahead and put the code that's edited here, or that we went over here, on GitHub for you to access as well, just for you to kind of look at. And again, feel free to kind of copy it over and make it your own, follow the tutorials, whatever you'd like.
Hey,
I have
thank
one more
you, Jacob.
question.
Oh, one more question.
So you showed in this example using a file to load the points into Tethys. What other data sources can Tethys work with?
Yeah, let me go ahead and pull that up just so we can kind of show here. Actually, it's probably best to just go. Actually, oops, let's see. So yeah, there are a few different sources you can work with. Let's see. So a few of those are WMS layers. We can use GeoServer, usually is what users will use for that. And these use what are called shapefiles, which are pretty similar to GeoJSON. They're a bit different, a little more, say, a little more complex, in that they themselves contain colors and different things like that. These are great though, just within GeoServer, because it's all stored in kind of a separate place. You don't need to mess with the files within your own app, anything like that. And these can be online as well. There are different sources online that provide WMS endpoints similar to this one. That one does get a little more tricky. Just you need to get some info on what the layers that you want to access are within their server and their data. GeoJSON that we went over. And then we've got the ArcGIS REST layers as well. So this is kind of similar to the WMS thing. It's just a different type of server. These are, I'd say, even more common in my experience than the WMS endpoints. These are things that you can find online, and these provide pretty detailed maps that kind of just get overlaid again onto your own. This is a great example, lots of detail to it. Yeah, those are the ones that we support. Our WMS, so essentially just GeoServer for the most part, ArcGIS, and then GeoJSON.
Okay, well, thank you, Jacob. Like you said, this recording will be made available.
And for any questions, feel free to reach out. I or Nathan are always willing to answer questions and help wherever we can. Even if it really is just a question about how to do something, any minor question, we're happy to help.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. We will have future webinars and more about this. If you have anything in particular you would like us to cover in one of these webinars, please let us know.